Science Masterclass. Today we're going to learn about the properties of rocks and minerals. My name is Mr. Salagaris and this is part of my Year 8 Science Geology course. Okay, so in this video we're going to talk about the properties of rocks. What is a property? Some different types of rocks and some properties of minerals. Okay, so the property just refers to an attribute, quality or characteristic of something. So you might say that a gold coin has some particular properties, like it is shiny and it's pretty difficult to break, so you might say it's also hard. These sort of properties or words that you can use to describe something apply to rocks as well. They help us to identify the type of rock and also help us to figure out what it could possibly be used for. We're not going to talk about how these rocks are formed, but these are three different types of rocks that we're going to cover in this course: igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. We're also going to look at the process of weathering and erosion. So that's just the breaking down of things like rocks into smaller substances like sands and then back into their minerals as well. So properties of rocks. Okay, so we're thinking about how you could describe these rocks. The properties of rocks, it's important to understand that because by knowing that information can influence the way that humans use that type of rock and also the role of that rock in the environment. So let's think about some of these things, like hardness. That's an obvious one. Luster is another word for shininess of a rock, the transparency, the shape of the crystals that make up the rock, the density of the rock, and also the streak, so the color of the powder of the minerals that make it up. Okay. The properties of minerals. Rocks are made up of one or more minerals. A mineral is a naturally occurring substance with its own unique chemical makeup, structure, and properties. So quartz is made up of oxygen and silicon. Okay, that's important to understand. Minerals are formed in a shape called a crystal. The structure of that crystal influences the property of that mineral. So whether it's hard, whether it's lustrous, whether it's transparent, that's all made up by, well, that's all determined by these crystals, the way that they're shaped, and also the types of minerals within that rock itself. So for example, a diamond has an interlocking structure which makes it incredibly hard to break, whereas graphite is made up of sheets which make it incredibly brittle. The thing is, diamond and graphite are both made up of the element carbon. So it's interesting to see that they have two different structures here that can change the actual property of the structure of the rock itself there. So let's summarize our main points that we talked about today. We talked about the properties of rocks and minerals. We talked about some different types of rocks. We talked about erosion and weathering. And we also talked about why we need to know about the properties of rocks and minerals. Hey, in our next video, we're going to learn about how to identify different rocks and minerals. So stay tuned for that one. Hey, thanks for watching.